behind me?
Why did you stomp my head for? Said the victim, Clarence Gilliard.
Welcome to CSL TV. And I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. Hopefully, the informational part help you in someone out. And in today's world, as all of us, if we stay together and do what's right, and we're just going to watch some videos and talk about them now. As you can see, we about to talk about this police officer and get into the details of this. That's if you ain't heard about it, it's going to be new to us. If you did heard about it, don't ruin it for us. You know what? You can't, because we watching it right now. So y'all just have a beautiful, blessed day.
At this Milwaukee gas station. According to police, two guys in a red Kia got into some sort of argument with a group inside the gas station. After the two guys left the gas station and got back into the Kia, the group posted up outside the entrance, and one of them slipped a gun to a teen. That's when things take a turn. As the guys in the Kia started to drive off, three of the men opened fire, and a 17-year-old boy inside the car was killed. A surveillance camera at the gas station helped police identify the three alleged shooters, and the cops confirmed all three were felons that should not have had access to guns. According to the former director of the ATF, virtually every gun used in a crime in the US starts off as a legal firearm, and from 2019 to 2020, the CDC found that Americans died at a higher rate from gun violence than at any time in the last 25 years. The three men from the gas station shooting were arrested and face multiple charges, including first-degree reckless homicide. Police are still searching for a fourth suspect involved.
Hey, let me see your hands. Bert, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground.
In South Carolina, that man in the white shirt and his disabled cousin behind him in red have every right to be terrified.
On the ground!
The Orangeburg police officer...
Get on the ground!
Now, when the police did that, I wonder if he was trying to turn his body camera off. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he used that forceful, you know what I'm saying, action he did against this guy who was clearly resisting. I mean, he wasn't resisting. Yeah.
Get on the ground!
...is on a power trip.
Do you not listen? Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! There's a gun behind me!
Why did you stomp my head for? Said the victim, Clarence Gilliard. Indeed, Officer Dukes did just stomp on him.
A gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun, nothing.
Put your hands behind your back. Is there a gun back there?
Ain't no gun.
By that truck.
Ain't no gun.
You're not listening, dude.
In this July 2021 incident with Officer David Lance Dukes, Orangeburg police had received a call about a man knocking loudly on a door carrying a gun.
Hey, you got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun. I don't want no gun. I don't want
Turn back over. Paul, are you watching him say? He had something.
I ain't want no gun.
The door's unlocked, it's not always so.
No, he was right here. Watch him. Go watch him. There it is.
I don't want no gun.
All right, that's what he had.
But that's not a gun. It looks like a makeshift tire changing tool.
All right, who's the complainant? All right, get him up.
Put your leg up.
25 cents, got one tank.
Alright, put your leg that way so you can stand up.
Alright, listen, I'm about to help you. Hold on. Hold on. Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. Alright.
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
I got head drummer.
Go back in the house.
Yeah. Y'all bust my head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yeah, y'all bust my head down. You throw me down.
I sure did. You wasn't listening.
Yeah, No, it ain't. You ain't to throw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got.
As Mr. Gilliard talks about his injury, watch as the black officer on the right, Sergeant Polidor, mentions to another officer that they should step away and chat.
Yep, you bust my head down on the cement. Yep, you bust my head.
All right, let me tell you what.
His forehead.
You bust my head.
Man, shout out to this good officer right there for doing her job right, listening, understanding. You know, I myself was going through a crazy situation, and I'm just thankful for the witnesses and the police who was there that understood what I was going through and did their job the way it was supposed to have been done. Because if not, it could have been, y'all know how things is.
You bust my head down on the cement.
He was in front of the car when I came up. And he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Had him at gunpoint. And he's over here doing something like this.
You slammed my head. You slammed my head.
What he was doing is putting this up behind the tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets. I'm telling him, let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your
Why you
hands.
bust my head?
He wasn't listening.
No, it ain't.
He got like this right here,
You grabbed me.
and we went onto the
You
ground.
bust my head
That's
down
what
on the cement.
Officer Dukes just told the officers he believed Gilliard had a gun and repeatedly told him to drop it. Dukes also alleged that when Mr. Gilliard stepped in front of the vehicle, he had his hands in his pockets and repeatedly ignored requests to show his hands. How body camera footage shows Mr. Gilliard had his hands above his head. And while Officer Dukes repeatedly asked him to get on the ground, he never asked Gilliard to drop a gun or show his hands, probably because Mr. Gilliard's hands were visible throughout the entire encounter.
You bust my
Yeah,
forehead.
your head did hit the cement.
Damn right, cause you bust me down on the cement.
Where's the complainant?
You bust my head down on the cement.
Right here?
You bust my head. You bust my head.
Where's the complainant?
Bust my head down.
I'm trying to get the name of the complainant.
You bust my head. You bust my head down on the cement.
Moments later, after going through the items in Mr. Gilliard's pockets, Officer Dukes hears from another cop that nobody wants to press any charges.
Ain't nobody
There ain't nothing nobody here want to press charges on.
Who called?
I'm not sure.
Take him out of cuffs right now. I mean, because that's what we
You're gonna
got.
have to use your force.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
slam my head down.
Dude, I didn't know what his intention
Use
was.
your force.
There was a pinky high five of sorts while the white officer told Dukes to look at the body camera.
Use your force. You need to look at the camera.
The officer did wrong. Slam my head down. Bust my forehead. Damn right. I'm gonna pay me for that shit.
Mayor, I'm going to take that in the evidence of what he had.
What?
Well, I mean, you know, that's the reasons I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from.
No gun or nothing.
Because when he was behind the truck, I couldn't see what he was doing. And I didn't know where
There ain't nothing there.
that went. If it was still in his pockets when he come around that car with his
I
hands.
like how he kept yelling what the police officer did to his head, because, you know, even though they took out the whole thing, we still was able to understand what happened. And we seen what happened. Like, Brody, he had his hand up all the time. He got down like he was supposed to, and you thought your body camera was off when you did that little thing to it. So you want to really hurt them, you know, hurt him, I should say, because the other guy was down already. He was getting there. And that little stick weapon shit you thought was a gun, come on now.
Car with his hands in his pockets.
But again, the issue was Officer Duke's use of force when Mr. Gilliard was already on his hands and knees surrendering.
Get on the ground!
As other officers noted in their reports, Officer Dukes stomped the man's head into the pavement.
On camera.
Yeah, a dog
That's
stick.
fine.
A dog stick.
So he can come out of cuffs? Yeah.
The police took Mr. Gilliard out of handcuffs.
Yeah, he can come out.
Then one officer photographed the injury to the man's forehead. That woman officer handed back Officer Dukes his cuffs. An EMT then stepped forward. As Mr. Gilliard described what happened, his cousin in the white t-shirt approached Officer Dukes.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one there. We don't have.
What's your
They don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
They don't give us cards. And that was a lie, as Sergeant Polidor points out.
Let me see if I can get my phone.
Hold on. We have cards. Okay. Thank you.
Brandon, he can get his stuff off the car.
Sergeant Polidor gives the man Officer Dukes' full name and badge number.
Will you say badge number?
1059.
Just 2 days later, the Orangeburg, South Carolina Police Department fired Officer David Lance Dukes. 2 weeks after that, following interviews with other police and witnesses, prosecutors announced they were charging David Dukes with assault. A few days after that, local news reporters obtained documents showing the former Orangeburg DPS officer charged for the use of force incident was previously fired from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. The personnel documents said Dukes had created a hostile work environment and that his attitude was destructive. In other words, even before David Lance Dukes became a police officer in Orangeburg, South Carolina, it was clear that he was trouble. Nonetheless, kudos to the Orangeburg Police Department for acting so quickly after Mr. Dukes assaulted Clarence Gilliard. Officers who were willing to tell the truth about this incident and provided Mr. Gilliard's family the information they needed to follow up. One can only imagine the role that Sergeant Polidor's incident report played in causing her city to fire and charge David Dukes. Officers who witness police misconduct are often placed in a position where their honest reporting about a colleague jeopardizes their own career. Indeed, it is not unusual to see law enforcement justify the violent actions of their peers. But Sergeant Polidor showed courage and integrity and helped to hold Mr. Dukes accountable. Recently, the city of Orangeburg settled with Mr. Dukes' victim, Clarence Gilliard. The city paid him $650,000 to avoid a potential lawsuit. The money is coming from the city's insurance carrier. Let me be clear. When police respond to reports about somebody with a gun, it's understandable if law enforcement officers are nervous. But when a human being, regardless of their race or gender, has their hands up and goes on their knees to surrender to police, kicking that person is despicable. And it's a crime.
Shout out to this guy, Military Things. You know, I don't really know too much about him. Besides that, this is some very good content because it showed something that was very, very against the police code and all they do, as well as against the human being, because God didn't put us here to harm others. God put us here to, you know what I'm saying, to be here for one another. If you down, I'm going to lift you up. If you need a kidney from my African-American body and your Caucasian, Italian, Latino, Nigerian, African, fucking whatever need, you know what I'm saying, and I can do that, think about it. How equal we're created. Now, when it comes to the blood type, now that's where it gets tricky. But you see what I'm saying? You can't put a Kia and a Jeep together unless you do a lot of modifications. So that just let you know we are supposed to be united in this world and stand for each other.